first show on TV, and I've done this a couple times, so I apologize. I thought I had a preemptive viewing for you. As you know, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. This is Pittsburgh Sportsline, and we are just, you got to get me a close-up on this. We got Olive Oil's Pizzeria, okay? Now, they're our sponsor, and I'm in there, and I hear a voice, and the guy goes, he's a movie star. Teddy Koza used to be at Sips. You remember Ted, guys? Mm-hmm. He come in to Olive Oil's Pizzeria for the first time. He got half a pizza with anchovies. I can't say what else. He should be watching it right now if he could remember that we're on right now. So I did tell him, but he's getting old. So I wanted to make sure of that. So
he put anchovies on that pizza. He's probably eating it alone.
He is. Shout out to Teddy and his wheelman John. They made it. I got Chip the Prophet Hayner with me, and I got Smokin' Jim Frazier. And I want to thank Bethel Park for letting us do our show on Comcast 7 every Tuesday night for over 4 years. And that's seen only in Bethel Park. On Verizon 32s in Bethel Park, plus Nemacolin all the way to Cranberry, Wexford, and everywhere in between. So thanks for watching. We just hit a brand new high on our likes. 5,000, Chip, 172. So thank you, guys. We appreciate that. And I have a little promo about a lady that's helping veterans heal, whether they've lost limbs, whether they suffer stress, post-traumatic stress. And her name is Maggie Abbey. And she starts a business that's opening March 20th in Mars. It's called Yoga on Mars. So check that out. You can get in there free. She even needs some donations because she gives veterans free lessons on yoga. It's a noble thing she's doing. She's been teaching this for years, from kids all the way up to somebody 94 years old. She was a guest on our show last night. We'll talk about that later, so check that out. For all of you interested in boxing, we have the Golden Glove dates of boxing. So you have to watch out this Saturday. It's in Johnstown. But here's our schedule. I don't know if we can pull up. We can't pull up close on it. I don't know. We got a new cameraman in here. Can he pull up on it at all? Ethan's trying his best. Looks like he did pull up a little there. If you can read it, you've got great eyesight. So put the magnifying glass on that. Thank you. All right, we're about ready to start our show. We talk sports, other things. And we're going to start with what's on your mind right now. Smokin' Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
hold it.
You got to see Levine.
How's that pitch? Baseball season. You didn't know that high, hard, fast one.
That's it, man.
Nice catch then.
You look like Pedro Alvarez, swing and a miss.
We'll talk about that shortly. Oh, man, you scooped me on that.
I was gonna do that anyhow. So.
But I want to thank Al Levine, the talking machine, Dave Cable, and BPTV for the opportunity. Thanks for coming out, Ethan and Devin Shea. But what's on my mind is Pittsburgh Sportsline Athletes of the Week. And the male athlete of the week, first of all, congratulations to Bethel Park boys and girls, outstanding basketball season. But the athletes of the week, got to go to the Twins. Alderdice Twins, riled at Penn Hills this weekend. Tim and James Jackson went for 21 and 20 points. And the female athlete of the week, I got to go over to North Catholic. They have a player, Samantha Brian, but she goes by Sam. In their 72-44 win, she had 30 points, 22 rebounds. That's Wilt Chamberlain type numbers. So those are the Pittsburgh Sportsline male and female athletes of the week.
Nice job, Jim.
Smokin' Jim, you're on fire this year. No doubt about it. And we had one of our guests just text me, is the show on tonight? Wildcats football, it'll be on tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Tonight's our Tuesday night live show, as I mentioned, a dozen times. So we're going to have to put you on probation right now. Chip the Prophet Hanger, what's on your mind?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to scoop Alan on this one, but I just want to send out a congratulatory note to former Pirates third base / first baseman Pedro Alvarez. Signed a contract with the Baltimore Orioles pending passing his physical. He will become a Baltimore Oriole for this year. Signed a one-year deal, $5.75 million, with $1.5 million. Or that's $5.75 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
With $1.5 million in bonuses that are available to him. You know, tell you what, didn't work out for Pedro here in Pittsburgh. He's a one-dimensional player. I wish him the best in the American League, and I, much success. Got no reason to criticize the guy. He just didn't perform up to capabilities, and subsequently, he's in the American League now. So, Pedro, we wish you well, and I'll leave it at that. Next thing I want to make a note of. 45 years ago today, March 8th, 1971. Pretty significant day in the boxing industry. What happened on March 8th, 1971? One of the greatest fights of all time. Muhammad Ali was fighting Joe Frazier for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Muhammad Ali lost his title when he refused to join the American military based on his religious beliefs. He was a conscientious objector. Was stripped of his heavyweight title. Joe Frazier was the undisputed champ. And the first of 3 mega fights happened on this night. 15 rounds. It was total war. Ali and Frazier slugged each other senseless. Finally, Joe Frazier knocked down Ali in the 15th round and won a unanimous decision to retain the world heavyweight champion, the first of probably 3 of the greatest fights of all time, 45 years ago tonight. So we just wanted to make sure we made note of that. And now, finally, what's on my mind? Okay? Yesterday, the sports world made a big deal out of a player who decided to retire, and I am so sick of hearing about him. Okay, you're retired now. Go away. I don't want to hear anything more about you. Peyton Manning played a great NFL career, put up gaudy statistics for a quarterback, but he played in an era where quarterbacks were protected, the receivers were protected, the rules were in favor of a passing offense. Unfortunately, he played on several teams that lived and died by a passing offense. But, all these things, to just sum it up in a nutshell, just to let the world know, Peyton Manning doesn't walk on water, can't walk on water, never could walk on water. Okay, he was a decent quarterback. He put up gaudy statistics. I am sick and tired of hearing people say that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think so. Ask yourself this question, and I bet you if we put this question to 10 people, not a single one of them would answer it this way. If you had one game to win, one game only, who would be your starting quarterback? And not a single person, I bet, would pick Peyton Manning. So, Peyton, right off into the sunset, go away. I don't want to hear about you anymore.
Whoa.
That's what's on my mind.
Smoking. Jim, any rebuttals on that?
Soon.
I'm sure.
Because these two, they've been having a little peaceful relationship this year, but they're both toying with the other guy there. So, yeah, I understand the stats. The stats mean a lot. Hey, Chip, he's got them. But I'll go for the winner every time. Mm-hmm. I go for the ones that can come back and get you that deal. In the playoffs, especially.
Well, you know what the thing is, with all the different eras in football, there's a lot of really, really good quarterbacks. And to try to say that one was the best out of them all, I just think it's an unfair argument. You're not comparing apples to apples.
You're exactly right. Well, this part here on What's on My Mind, I was under strict orders from Dan Bogan to give this book, which is written by Bill Viola Jr. It's a great book. I recommend it for anybody that thinks the UFC is the first MMA group of people to do something like this. This goes back to the 1970s, and I'm going to give this to Smoking Jim under strict orders.
See, he's going to hand it right
Not
to you.
Not right now. I'll wait till you chew a little bit, but I'll talk just a little bit about it. Bill Viola Sr. and Frank Caligiuri helped to start that, and they were so meticulous. Nobody got killed in their tough man contests or injured, where they couldn't perform anymore. They had referees. One of them just passed. our friend Jacquay, I don't remember his last
Bazemore.
Bazemore. He was actually a heavyweight champion kickboxer, and he was a strong referee in the ring. These guys were animals there, and he calmed them down. They went by the rules. When you read the book, it actually has, I have to show, it has some photos in there, I think. I don't know if we can get them out. At Smoking Jim, you will have a chance to see Frank Sr. young and some other guys, different things. So there's a picture or two throughout the book.
It's a thick book.
Okay. It's a big book.
It's got big print, Jim.
And here's Jacquay right here. I don't know if you can pull up on that. Ethan, is it possible? We got a new cameraman, first time in here helping us out. We appreciate it. That might be too much with the way it is. It's not that big of a thing, but you can see he got his zebra shirt on. And Smoking Jim, this is the official pass the book. Whoa, whoa. Are your hands clean?
They're clean.
Okay.
All right.
Dan Bogan, he now has the book. The clock is on for reading.
I might
And that's what's on my mind. I delivered the book, and Smoking Jim has it. That's a great part of history here in Pittsburgh with how we're innovators in sports, business, medical, even special sauce on your Big Mac, so all these other things in Pittsburgh. So check it out. And it's available. You can purchase it. I think it's on Amazon. And we'll find out more during Kumatai. Now we go to our segments. And one of my favorites is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Now, is this Bill Viola Sr.?
Yes.
He looks just like Bill Viola Jr. in this
Yeah,
picture.
they might be related.
All righty. All right, so it's on my mind is, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. And I agree with Chip that if I had to pick one quarterback to win one game, it wouldn't be Peyton Manning. But if I was starting a franchise today, first player I'd pick would be Peyton Manning. But anywho,
Fair enough.
and this is what's on my mind is Peyton Manning. I know you love it. Hey, back in the day when black quarterbacks really wasn't able to play college football, especially in the SEC in the southern states, Tony Dungy was an outstanding quarterback for the University of Minnesota. And his offensive coordinator for the Gophers was Tom Moore. And being that Tony Dungy was a guy that was exceptional above the neck, Tom Moore decided to innovate some things with Tony Dungy, and they ran the no-huddle offense.
Wow.
And we fast forward all the way to 1998, and Peyton Manning gets drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. His offensive coordinator is Tom Moore, and Tom Moore brushed off the no-huddle offense and installed it with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was blessed with the genius. Bruce Arians was his quarterback coach his first 3 years, and you put together guys like Tom Moore and the genius Bruce Arians and the work ethic of Peyton Manning, and you have the all-time leading passer in the history of the National Football League. And that's Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
May I interrupt for a minute, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now
I'm done.
do you think that maybe Coach Moore had something to do with Coach Knoll drafting Tony Dungy to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because Tom Moore was Bradshaw's offensive coordinator when the Steelers' offense won 2 Super Bowls.
Great point.
First 2 Super Bowls were won by the Steelers' defense.
Well, I can
Second
say
2 on Bradshaw's arm.
Well, I can say this: he had nothing to do with Chuck Noll drafting Dungy because he didn't get drafted, but maybe bringing him in as a free agent. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, that's a good point.
That's why Smoking Jim is an expert in the NFL scouting.
And that's the reason why I asked him.
And he's not afraid to give the facts as
Great
he
job,
sees them at any time. And I'm going to check those 17 sources to make sure that's the truth. There's no more 2 sources for you. You're off of probation
What
as
a
of now.
coincidence, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how this stuff happens. All right,
Everything fell into
my
place.
other favorite segment is Chip's trivia time.
Thank you, Alan. And, last week I kind of gave a brief recap of the Pirates' success of the 70s. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Success of the 70s. Well, after the success of the 70s, unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Pirates fell upon hard times. And it started off in 1980. The Pirates were unable to repeat the magic of the 1979 season and fell to third place with an 83-79 record. So this is 1 year after winning the World Series. Then in 1981 was the year of the strike. Okay, it was the first and only baseball season to be broken up into two parts. And the Pirates struggled in both halves of the strike-interrupted season, even managing to finish in last place the second half of a split season, as first baseman Willie Stargell was limited to 38 games. Now, 1982 comes rolling around, and Willie Stargell hits his 475th home run. That number is significant because that's the Pirate record for most home runs by a player in franchise history. He hit the final home run of his 21-year career on July 21st against the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati with an eighth-inning, game-winning pinch hit home run. The 42-year-old veteran would go on to retire following the season, establish a team record in home runs along the way. The Pirates would go on to finish in fourth place, 84-78. Now, one of the darkest moments in Pirates history really didn't have anything to do with the play of the team on the field or on the lack of paying players. Actually, the Pirates, believe it or not, for as frugal as their spending is now, was the first team to have $1 million ball player. Dave Parker became the first $1 million athlete when he signed a $1 million contract with the Pirates, and I'm not sure if that was in 78 or 79, but he became the highest paid player in baseball. But the Pirates almost left Pittsburgh in the mid-'80s, and it had everything to do with the drug trials that revolved around the team. It tarnished the reputation of the team. It almost ran the team out of town. A number of Pirate players were caught up in the aftermath of that. And I do probably believe that this is one of the reasons why Dave Parker has never been elected into the Hall of Fame, because of his part that he played in this. Dale Berra played a part. It even tarnished Bill Madlock and other players on the team, as well as other athletes in the National League got caught up in this. And it became a huge event, and there was quite a number of people that got arrested, thrown in jail. And the Pirates at this point were at a low point. It looked like Chuck Tanner had lost control of the team. The Pirates put together a solid season in 1983, 84-78, finished 6 games behind the Phillies for the division title. 1984, the Pirates sunk to last place for the first time in 29 years. With a record of 75-87. 1985, the Pirates suffered through their worst season in 30 years, losing 104 games on the way to finishing in last place for the second year in a row. Following the season, Chuck Tanner would be fired, ending his 10-year reign at the helm of the Pirates ship. And Chuck Tanner is one of the very few managers in the history of baseball that was not signed to the Pirates. He was traded by the Oakland A's to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They wanted him that badly, and he did have a great run. Newcastle's own Chuck Tanner was a great ambassador for the team, for the city. He brought a world championship to the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1979, and that's something that just doesn't come around very often. So, the 1986, the Pirates are now in a remote building mode. They hire none other than Jim Leland and bring up rookie outfielder Barry Bonds.
He saved the Pirates.
Just 1 year in the minors. However, the Pirates don't fare much better, finishing in last place for the third year in a row with a 64-98 record. You spoke too soon.
Hold on, let me explain to Smoking Jim. It's like Joe Green when he was drafted. We only won 1 game.
Yeah, we were 1-12, 1-13.
Yeah, just so you know.
Okay.
Don't get crazy on us.
1987, the Pirates use a strong late season surge to escape the National League East Division basement and finish tied for fourth place with an 80-82 record. So the Pirates had started making themselves relevant again. 1988, the Pirates contend for the National League East Division. They battle the New York Mets neck and neck for the first half of the season. However, the young Pirates would struggle down the stretch and would finish 15 games out of first with a solid 85-75 record. Now, next, in 1889, the young Pirates hit a bump in the road and fell to 5th place, suffering to a disappointing 74-88. So you can see, as the Pirates went from being cellar dwellers to contenders, there were some bumps along the roads. Wouldn't be too surprised to see modern-day Pirates run into the same thing. They've had 3 good years. I expect them to improve upon their record from last year. Not so much their record, just in the standings at the end of the year. And we'll get more to that as we get closer to the season. 1990, after a fruitless decade in the 80s, the Pirates win the National League East Division with a 95-67 record, beat the Mets by 4 games. A certain Barry Lamar Bonds wins his first MVP award, 30 home runs and 50 stolen bases before he started juicing.
It was clear, I think.
Doug Drabeck won the Cy Young Award in 1990. The
What a
National
season.
League Championship Series was also a retro 70s feel to it, as the Pirates faced the Cincinnati Reds, who themselves they faced 3 other times in the 70s and ended up losing to them each time. Once again, the Pirates lost to the Reds in 1990. The Reds would go on to win the World Series that year. That was the year that they had the relief pitchers. They called them the Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble.
They were nasty.
Eric
Dibble was my
Davis
boy,
was their left fielder, who actually played who ruptured his spleen making a diving catch in the playoffs. And the Reds won the World Series that year against the A's. So that wraps up the decade of the 80s. We all know that the Pirates went on to win 2 more National League East Division championships when another Barry Lamar Bonds couldn't throw out Sid Bream at home plate in the 7th game of the National League Championship Series to deny us of our chance to win another world title. And they lost Bobby Bonilla that year. Barry Bonds played 1 more season in Pittsburgh, and then came 20 years of drought. But all of that's behind us. The 2016 Pirates are working their way through spring training, and there's more to follow.
Question: how many MVPs did Barry Bonds win in Pittsburgh? I wasn't sure.
I believe Barry won 2.
I think 3.
I believe he won 2, and I could be wrong, but I know he won a total of 7 of them. But
I think he won 3 in Pittsburgh.
Well, he wasn't juicing then.
Should
Made
be a
it
statue.
easier.
Should be a statue out in front stadium of Bonds.
he didn't bring a world championship, Jim.
But
See, Mazeroski brought his world championship. Clemente brought a world championship. You know,
Honest Wagner, I
Stargell
think.
brought a world championship.
Honest Wagner,
Honest
too.
Wagner. I tell you, they should put a statue of out in front of the stadium's Danny Murtaugh.
Yeah. There you go.
He won 2 world titles.
Well, thanks for Chip's trivia time. With a little bonus with Smoking Jim.
Chief, I hope you liked it.
He loved it. He loved it. He's got those books of stats right there. He's going through it right now.
He was already ready for it this morning. He sent me a message, and I only know one other person that misspelled as many words as he spelled in that sentence. Just joking, Chief.
Wow. He got the stats. He's a good baseball stat man, and like I said, his dad, Jimmy Mack, one of the best with sports. You didn't meet it. You haven't met him. He's still around, but he could talk baseball like you're talking, and they'd pull out the book, him and Chief.
you don't know Jack Shannon, do you?
Jack Shannon, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I met him.
Is that a random thing that's come out?
I met him, and he said he used to work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. We know a lot of people in Pittsburgh, so if you think you know us, just tell Smoking Jim. He'll bring it up here.
You're still smoking, Jim. I'm a long-lost cousin.
We're getting too crazy now. Hey, we had a on-location show that we covered a lot of different guests. One of them, I got to thank Skip Atkins again. He brought Smokin' Jim and I steak hoagies from Campede's.
So good.
Thanks to Campede's, we appreciate it. One of our favorites. They have a promotion coming up. I think it's on Thursday that they're going to give pricing back to the original pricing. So there's going to be great deals there. Check out Campede's. Go to their Facebook page or website. Skip was telling me. But why I'm thanking Skip is 3 of his great-grandchildren come on our show. They're Taekwondo experts, 3 great kids. We had their Master Zhang on, who he teaches, them all the things. Well, it wasn't on our show, even though we prepped for it. Master Zhang said, "Could I break a board over your head?" So I said, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "Do you mind if I eat this steak hoagie?" He goes, "No, just don't flinch." I said, "I'm not going to flinch, and I'll keep eating." Long story short, one of the best moves I ever saw a guy kick. He kicked the board, broke it right above my head. He's only he says he's 5'9". I know he's shorter. I won't reveal how short. But he got up over 5.5 feet high in the air, kicked the board. I just watched. It was like this. There's some photos to prove it, even though it's not on our show.
And look at that, not a blemish on that
No,
kisser.
not
a
at
blemish
all.
on that kisser.
It was so amazing.
And when I went to get my hair cut today at Azazu by Mary Ann, I didn't tell her to look for any wood chips because there were none. So thanks for the style. It's always nice to go there. She's only on Tuesdays. Call for Mary Ann at Azazu on Tuesdays, right in the middle of Pittsburgh. Thanks for the cut. Now we had some other guests. We had a football team. WPA Wildcats, John Ray, the guy who texted me during this live show. And he had his team there, about 7 players, some big linemen. I mean, he had a tackle, 2 guards, and one of Smokin' Jim's favorite Gateway players. Before you swallow that, can you shout out to your man one more time?
Greatest player in Gateway history.
He was louder yesterday.
Great quarterback. Matter of fact, when he played quarterback, team that played near Penn Hills had a quarterback named Anthony Morelli, who was the #1 rated quarterback in the country, and he could outrun and outthrow Anthony Morelli and beat him every time. Morty Ivy, who went on to West Virginia and played linebacker, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well.
And he looks in great shape.
Anthony Morelli, he's the one that went on to fame and fortune at Penn State, right?
Penn State, that's it.
Yeah, so we covered a lot of things there. And again, this lady, Maggie Abbey, is doing great things with veterans in yoga. She even helps amputees, and it's just amazing. Smokin' Jim, you got to get the elbows up higher. You can't even get them together.
It's all about the breathing, Jim.
Well, he doesn't even know about that, so we're working on those things. And it was just a great show. We had, you want to announce your other buddy who come back? You give a great promo for Rick Carter.
Oh, my goodness. This is a guy that was, another one that played high school football near Monroeville. He was recruited.
I heard it's Penn Hills.
He was recruited in football by everybody, including Florida State, when they were national champions. He went on to fight in the Tough Man contest, was ranked 2nd in the world in Tough Man, went on to be an undefeated professional fighter before he turned to be a premier boxing trainer. So Rick Carter.
And Boyce AC.
In Monroeville.
He had... He had his coaches there, and he had some great young boxers that he's developing. So, I mean, we're looking for a lot of good things. And what's nice about him, he has about 30 people in his Boyce AC gym. They're not all allowed to fight in Golden Gloves because they want to fight. They have to be in shape. So one of his guys, I got to shout out to Luke. He's only been with Rick since last July. He's already won a Golden Gloves fight.
Wow.
And he's allowed to box. So right there shows he must be in shape. He was trying to tell me he's into something about wrestling. I just wanted to hear about boxing, because you can go to MMA with the wrestling too, but we're talking boxing. So he might even be a Golden Gloves champion when they're done with him. That's the type of things they do there, take you from a young age. They even take older guys that come in. So, I mean, it's a great place. They all come up. And I was picking on a coach of his that's about 365 pounds. I told him he should be in the back, and he listened to me. So we're friends. Hussein, it was a pleasure talking to. We've seen each other at the fights, but they enjoyed themselves, and we'll have that posted up tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon. So we'll check that show out. And we had Justin Fabus Band. He's actually signed a contract with one of the record companies. He'll be touring from late spring in the local area. He's from Dormont. He put a lot of hard work in, and we wanted to announce that. He'll be at Hollywood Lanes on Saturday night for their St. Patrick's Day party. So check that out if you're nearby. And of course, we had to have the host of all this, Jeffrey Park, the owner of Hollywood Lanes. He said, come on out to us. We appreciate you guys. He keeps saying he loves us and we're the greatest. Well, we don't really care about that. We just like the venue. It's awesome, the stage. And the sound guys, I got to give a shout out to them. We had so many conflicts, Smoking Jim, with these mics, their mics. Stuff was blowing up all over the place, and we kept our streak alive. We have never started a show at 7:30 sharp. The streak is alive, even though I shoot for that all the time. But Steve was one of the best with setting us up, and Brandon come in and saved the day with the mics that he had. So when you see it, there's extra mics there, and it's a little crazy, but you got to hear and see everybody. And we had a great time with the show. Thanks for everybody coming out there. We had people that come in from Mars and, Wexford and everywhere else, so we appreciate that. And then Lindsay Marie, that's the fiance of Jeff, she set everything up she gave Smokin' Jim and I, Chip, plates, cookies, cheese, crackers, more cookies, and Smoking Jim, I don't know where his went, but it disappeared. And
I'm thinking I'm looking where they went.
So, it's great. We'll be there each month, first of each month, first week, first Monday. So check it out when we come back again. We'll have another great group of guests. And thanks to Dave Cable and Bethel Park for letting us venture out. Devin Shea did one of the best jobs on camera that he did. He was organizing 2 cameras. Rosie, our volunteer, was on one of them. So they did a lot of stuff. Wait till you see this show when it comes out. Thanks, everybody, and that's it for that. Now we're going to start into what subject do you want to go to first? What do you guys think?
We got free agency. It starts at 4 o'clock tomorrow in the NFL. Some interesting goings on. Players retiring.
Yeah.
Not just Peyton Manning.
Megatron.
Could be one of the greatest receivers of all time.
Hold on, let me go right into that. When you retire early in your career, does that hurt or help your legacy? Well, Jim Brown was fine.
Well, you have to look at it like this, okay? Really, what is your legacy? Is putting up gaudy statistics the only measuring stick you use to get into the Hall of Fame? Because if it is, then the answer to your question would be yes, that hurts your chances.
Thank you.
But you look at somebody like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is arguably one of the greatest running backs that ever played the game.
Yeah.
He quit when he was 30. He quit in the prime of his career. I don't think that affected his ability to get into the Hall of Fame because he was truly one of the greatest running backs.
And that's my thought, Chip, because Barry Sanders, you talk about a guy that was frustrated. He gave you 110% every time he played. He did things that other runners still can't do.
And he played on a team where he never, ever really once had a chance to play for a title. Detroit may have gone to the playoffs once or twice, but they never really were a championship team. And Megatron, it's a shame that he never got a chance to play for, a world championship. But I think his ability as a receiver speaks for itself.
Right.
Whether or not that's going to get him into the Hall of Fame, like I said, that's the one
What's
thing
the
about
criteria?
Yeah, that's the one thing about all of the Hall of Fames that I just. What is the criteria for getting into the Hall of Fame? In baseball, is it 3,000 hits? For a pitcher, is it 300 wins?
Yeah.
There are pitchers in baseball and hitters in baseball that didn't get 3,000 hits and that didn't get 300 that are in the Hall of Fame. So what is the criteria that you use?
And I think football, out of all the sports, football does the best job in their Hall of Fame.
How can you say that?
Well, I
need facts.
They do a nice job, unless, of course, you're Terrell Owens. And, and here's another meathead that doesn't get elected into the Hall of Fame, and then he's going to start picking arguments with people that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He deserves to be in, though. He deserves to be in.
But, according
Then
to
how
him,
did the
yes, he
NFL
does. According to him, yes, he does. But guess what? Apparently, the people that vote for the Hall of Fame think differently.
They don't like him.
Well, then, whose fault do you think that is?
But he's number 3 all time. Sometimes
See,
some lists number 2 all time.
Then, you're basing that strictly on statistics, and
What do you base it on?
Well, that's what
That's what he
my
asked.
point. That's my point. What do you base it on? If you go straight on statistics, he goes in. If you go to character and what kind of a teammate he was, he's never going to make the Hall of Fame.
Smoking Jim, I got a question. Would Terry Bradshaw get in the Hall of Fame on his statistics?
On Bradshaw statistics?
Yeah. Or did he get in on the 4
Well, there's
Super
only
Bowls?
one statistic that we got him at shoe-in, and that's the 4 Super Bowl
That's
wins
my point.
and 4 tries. But as far as
212 touchdowns with 210 interceptions ain't getting you in the Hall of Fame.
Well, then how can you say the NFL does a good job?
They do a great job.
Not in today's Hall of Fame.
They do better than any of the other halls.
Well, so here's one of the interesting things I heard
Thanks
about.
for verifying.
Now we all remember how much of
It's good.
a stud athlete Mike Wallace was when he played for the Steelers.
Yeah.
And and he went off to go for that big money in Miami, and he
That's all he got.
promptly fell on his face. Well, he got cut by the Minnesota Vikings today.
Did he?
Yeah, because that saved the Vikings $11.9 million against the cap this year. And so the Minnesota Vikings went to him and they said, "Hey, Mike, you could help the team out by, taking a little less money this year. We'll keep you on the roster. You can play." No, he didn't want to take a cut and pay.
Brother couldn't wait to get out of Minnesota.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you go from getting a multi-million-dollar paycheck to no paycheck. Now, I'm just saying, not one of the brightest moves that a person could make. Because you know what, he got his last big contract, and just to let people know, $11.9 million against the cap. When you only get 38 receptions for a half a dozen touchdowns in the course of a season, you're not going to stay on anybody's roster very long, and nobody's going to be opening up their checkbook. So I think he's going to be go by the wayside.
Wow.
So part of the Young Money crew.
They're not Young Money anymore.
They're not Young Money, but they
money.
Emmanuel Sanders is the only one with a ring.
You guys gonna watch Dancing with the Stars?
My
What is
wife
that?
will.
We could get a
What is
trophy.
that?
We could get
What show is that?
We could get a trophy.
We could get
out of
it.
that.
Do you think they'll have a parade downtown for Antonio? They did for Hines.
Yeah, they should.
Oh, I want to. If they tell me he's going to go hop on a goalpost or whatever he did during the dance, I'll watch it.
I bet you they end up doing that. They put in the props. But you know who else is going to be on that is Vaughn Miller.
Vaughn Miller. He'll knock him down.
Yeah, well, concussing him isn't going to work because it worked real good for Vontez Perfect, right?
But they got to keep Vaughn Miller away from some of them women. Did you see the women that be on there? They're dance partners. Whoa.
I haven't watched that show.
My wife is addicted to watching that show. She DVRs it and she watches it when I leave for work on Tuesday morning. Thanks, Steph. It's not my
Smoking
cup
Jim,
of
I
tea.
appreciate your insights
Not my
on
cup
where
of tea.
trophies are won.
So the Steelers have
Speaking of the Steelers, they always have to adjust salaries. So what you're talking about that they asked Mike Wallace, Steelers do it all the time.
Well, yeah, and
That's the amazing part about it.
But the thing is, you have to have a good idea of what your value is and what your worth is. And apparently, somebody's telling Mike Wallace things that don't have anything to do with the facts.
point.
I mean, if you could go, he is not a number one receiver anymore in this league, and he hasn't been for years. So, we've got two members of our offensive line who are set to become free agents, Calvin Beecham and
He'll be gone.
Ramon Foster. The Steelers have re-signed William Gay, and they what was his name? Golston.
Golden, I think.
Golden. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a special teams captain.
Yeah.
But
Which is ridiculous.
it'll be interesting to see how this all kind of plays out because there are going to be some quality athletes out there and available, and are they going to be willing to play for what teams are willing to pay them? And we'll wait and see.
As long as they keep adjusting that cap, because they need room.
What kills me is you got a team like the Baltimore Ravens. So after they win a Super Bowl, they signed Joe Flacco to a $125 million contract or whatever. So this year, had they not renegotiated with him, he would have counted $30 million against the cap for that team for this year. Now, some people will argue, is Flacco a franchise quarterback? Hey, he was good enough to win a Super Bowl, so I guess you could
Ownership
count
rewarded
him as that. But here's what they do: is you keep robbing Peter to pay Paul, and at some point, the franchise is going to have to pick up the tab on that because they give Flacco another $66 million, and that's just pushing the big salary cap hit back a couple of years, and they're going to be in the same position in the next couple of years. And I don't know. Does that make the best business sense? I guess we'll see.
Well, they'll never win another Super Bowl without Ray Lewis. I said it then, and I'm saying it now.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
You mean Terrell Suggs? Mr. Oops, I don't have a driver's license. But you all going to arrest me anyhow?
Terrell Suggs, didn't
Yeah, he got arrested for.
That.
Yeah, he wasn't under the influence or anything. They didn't get him for that, but he was driving on a suspended license. He said he fell asleep and his car ended up on a curb.
Oh yeah, that was in Arizona.
Yeah, it was Arizona.
Okay, that sucks. Well,
Just a small little detail. Guys worth $40-50 million, and I guess he doesn't think he needs to renew his driver's license. I do, but I want to earn a living with my license.
I think they was able to follow the whatever was leaking under his car to him.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they caught him. They followed it.
Smoking Jim, I can count on you verifying these stories.
So we got free agency that's about to start. I don't know.
Who do we need then?
What do the Steelers need? The Steelers need cornerbacks. That's what
Right.
they need. They've got Everett Golston, who's hasn't played it down. The second round draft pick, and word has it, and this would be the man that would be able to tell you, about the Steelers. They should be drafting a quarterback in the first round this year. They should have done that last year, but we'll see.
That's what I would do. Although Golston's going to be good. He's small, but he's super quick. Got quick feet. But
Speed helps a little.
yeah, you can't have too many corners, especially when you don't.
You can't have too many
When
corners.
you don't have them.
Yeah, right.
But there's going to be some quality defensive linemen out there too, and I think the Steelers are looking for
It
defensive.
won't hurt
linemen.
to get a defensive line.
Well, because to be honest with you, the sack machine, Jarvis Jones, is not panning out the way they had planned he would. So they probably got more sacks out of a defensive line last year than they did out of the linebacking core, and that's not something that the 3-4 defense is supposed to do.
Well, especially when you have a new coach sending everybody almost all the time. It helped, and you did get some interceptions and fumbles, but you can't. You live and die by the.
Well, you live and die by
blitz,
it because if you're not applying pressure to the quarterback, then you have to have two All-Pro corners. The Steelers didn't have two All-Pro cornerbacks, so you've got to put pressure on the quarterback.
And as Smoking Jim always says, when you give him another year to study that, you're not going to be able to do what you did that year.
Good point.
So that's going to change some of it. So you need some other guys. Some
Everything
speed.
you did successfully last year, everybody is dissecting it right now. They'll find ways of beating it. That's just the nature of the NFL.
Right, no doubt about it. So we'll see. It'll be some exciting times.
Omaha.
No, it's dead.
And that's the last time I hope to hear that. I don't even want to hear it when I'm in Nebraska. Okay.
Our next stop begins with an O.
Mutual of Omaha, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the Wild Kingdom.
Yeah, those were classics. I wonder if Smoking Jim watched those.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. He didn't watch Disney on Sunday nights.
He was running a football out back.
That's right.
Wouldn't stop.
That's right. So we've got that going on. The Penguins are in 7th place right now in the playoff chase. They've got the first wild card spot.
That's what we want.
But they're playing tonight, and this is something that has always confused me. But the other hockey team in New York was called the New York Islanders because they played on Long Island. Well,
Great point.
the Penguins are playing the Islanders in Brooklyn. Last I checked, Brooklyn wasn't an island, but that's okay. I mean, that's where they play
They've
hockey
landed.
night. So the Penguins have had trouble with the Islanders.
Yes.
They're playing tonight now. The interesting thing is, last night Philadelphia won, and they are now 3 points behind the Penguins. We have 3 games left against the Flyers, and the Flyers have seemed to have had our number this year. So.
In many years.
And the Penguins have been playing very well as of late, and then they laid an egg on Saturday. against the Calgary Flames, which is a team they had no
One of the
business.
worst.
As a matter of fact, the goaltender for the Calgary Flames on Saturday was his first victory in the NHL. Okay, that just goes to show you how badly they stunk. But then they came back strong with a win on Sunday. They beat the Rangers 6-1.
Yeah.
So now they've got the Islanders tonight, and the Penguins got to keep the pedal to the metal. They do not have a playoff spot wrapped up yet. They could be 3 points back tomorrow, and
it'll
as
change.
easily, it's going to change. So they need to continue playing the way they've been playing, and
Well, actually, I heard Stan Savran saying the record hasn't improved that much, but he calls it the eye test. When you look at them, it looks like they're playing, and there are some improvements with how their lines are and how they're being moved around. But the record isn't as great as we think it is, but they have improved.
Well, I think here's what the fatal flaw is with the Penguins this year. The Penguins have decided that they're not going to be a physical, imposing team. They're gonna try to beat you with speed, and therein lies the problem, because when these other teams get into them, and then you get into a 7-game series and people start manhandling Crosby, and there's nobody to stand up for him.
And it can't be Malkin. Malkin can't be the guy. He can stand up, but you lose 2 of your players.
You can't put your stars in the penalty box,
Right.
okay? And if you don't have anybody to stand up for your players, ultimately it's going to make it a long day for you, because what's going to end up ultimately happening, it's usually not the person that instigates that gets the penalty. It's the
Who
person
comes
that
in.
retaliates, because that's when the referee turns his head to see what's happening, and and that's what will happen. But that's where I think their fatal flaw is going into the playoffs, into a 7-game series. They're doing okay against teams here and there, but
Sometimes the best teams, they play the best. Other times they blow it up.
do they have what it takes to beat any of the top teams in the Eastern Conference 4 out of 7 games?
Well, I like what I'm seeing even with the backup goaltender, Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is best in the AHL, and he's shown brilliant games, up here. So that helps, because Fleury has been playing out of his mind at times, but we know what happens once in a while. And the last year or so, he hasn't been that way and going back into that funk. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense does have to play a little bit better, because those breakaways are still deadly at certain times when there's nobody back. So we do need some defense back there too.
And then I also want to make sure that we make a mention to the end of the Pitt basketball season. Tomorrow, Pitt plays Syracuse at noon. Last week at this time, their RPI was 39. Looked like there's no way they can't make the tournament. Well, sitting here tonight, their RPI is at 56. And if they lose in the first round or in the second round of the ACC tournament tomorrow in Washington, I don't believe that they're going to be a tournament team. I don't believe they're
You're
going to
not
get
the
in.
only one.
Well, and they've got really the one good win that they had, they ruined that and the effects of it by losing to Virginia Tech and to Georgia Tech. They needed to win those 2 games on the road to make themselves so. Are we watching the end of the Jamie Dixon era? Tune in at noon tomorrow. You'll find out.
Well, just ask Smoking Jim now. He's been not his biggest fan ever. Smoking Jim?
Yeah, it's been long overdue. If you can't recruit, you can't coach for me. Major college basketball. But the one good thing Pitt has going, they kind of have Syracuse's number, so they got a good draw. They got a.
It could happen.
Yeah, they got a more than decent chance of beating Syracuse.
They've got a more than decent chance. They've beaten them twice already this year. They beat them in Syracuse. They beat them here at Pittsburgh. Now take into account the first time we played them, Jim Boeheim was suspended, serving his cheating suspension.
And he's back.
He's innocent.
Yeah, but he's going into the Hall of Fame.
Like I said, football does the best job.
But I just don't think that Jamie Dixon is a coach that will ever thrive in the ACC. I think Jamie's a good basketball coach. I wouldn't be too surprised if he ended up going somewhere out west. I hear UNLV is looking for a head coach. So
Wow.
He's from the West Coast.
I know.
I know he's
California.
been here. Now I know he's he's locked up in a contract. The Panthers are going to have to buy him out to get him out of here. But
Hold it. In college, Anything is possible.
Isn't that
Those
the truth?
contracts, it doesn't matter.
Isn't that the truth? So then we go, Jim was talking about the Alderdice basketball team.
Yes, sir.
And Jim and I are firm believers that this is a team that's going to win the States. Tomorrow night, over here at Bethel Park High School, there will be a game that will be worth watching. Pine Richland, the WPIAL Quad A champions this year, are playing Alderdice, which is the number one team, Quad A team in the state. And they're playing in the second round of the playoffs, but that's just the way the ball bounces this time.
Read Kevin Gorman's article I posted on Pittsburgh Sportsline. It'll tell you why. I'll give you a tease, like Smoking Jim says. Give the people a tease. Go to Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook there. Kevin Gorman, one of our friends, great insights and everything he writes about in sports. If you haven't read his column, just check it out because this is a good one. It explains some of the unanswered questions that we still have. So
I'll be there tomorrow night in the bowl. Bethel Park at probably the biggest high school basketball seating in the area. So
I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And on the record, if you check the film, I predicted that Alderdice would be the state champions and they'll be back on our show.
You're
So
wearing your
you can
green.
Check that.
You're
Put
wearing
the
your
green, baby. Go for the dice.
Yeah, they.
Definitely. They're a great team, great character.
How'd they lose a game this year?
Yeah, they were a little rusty from football season. And
Well, remember Bob Gibson? He had the lowest ERA.
Yeah.
How did he lose like 9 games that
Yeah,
year?
well,
Wow.
so you got a point there.
Right?
Because he gave
Little
up.
things in sports.
He
that-
gave up one run, and the other pitcher didn't give up any. So it
That's how it works.
It works
If
out
you
that
have
way
one
sometimes.
more point or run than the other team, you win.
You're taking the trophy, right?
Exactly. We've touched everything else. We might as well hit a little bit of baseball. I'm not a big fan of the Grapefruit League. I tune in every so often to hear the newer players and what the older players are doing, getting in shape, hitting some home runs.
Well, and it looks like, according to Neil Huntington, it doesn't look like Jung Ho Gong will be ready for the beginning of the season, and they're not going to try to push him to get ready.
Why would you?
But right now, the kid that's tearing up spring training for the Pirates is a gentleman that played second base in Altoona most of the year last year, moved up to AAA Indianapolis, and he's batting over 500 right now for the Pirates, playing second base, Alan Hansen.
I hear this every year.
Well, what?
Go ahead.
Well,
That's a
you know
different
what?
player,
You know what? Right now, they say that Hansen's biggest problem, he's got the tools to make it to the majors. Is he consistent enough to stay there? They say using him as a short-time fill-in for a 2, 3, possibly 4-week period. They feel that he may be ready for that. He needs to mature a little bit before they feel that he'll be ready for the big club. So,
Well, he does. You can't make the steps like that unless you're truly a very exceptional player. When you're young, it's hard to do it. And Smoking Jim, the point on hitting 500 early in the season, if you remember, I know it's hard for you to think back, way back to last week, when I said, Chip, do you think pitching is ahead of hitting or hitting is ahead of pitching? I always say hitting. Chip said the same thing. Because pitchers, you don't want to blow out an arm early. So you're basically getting your arm strengthened.
Especially
and
throwing
shaped.
them grapefruits.
No, that's the league, Smoking Jim. I know you found out it's called the Grapefruit League. It's been around for years. They're in Florida. But hitting is usually almost always ahead of time.
oh, here's some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Steelers finalizing an extension with guard Ramon Foster.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't think they'd do it.
What a waste.
I didn't think they would do
Guy
that.
can't pull. You got the Castro that can pull. So you're only pulling one side. Foster can't pull.
Vince
Oh, my
Lombardi
goodness.
said just go left.
Well, I just report the news.
Oh, man.
Don't kill the messenger.
Don't kill the messenger. So getting back to the Pirates. Now, sight unseen, never watched him play, take one swing of the bat. Josh Bell is also having a very strong spring. Jim thinks he should be the starting first baseman going into the season.
Definitely.
But he's another player that's not quite ready for prime time.
He needs more seasoning.
And he's only played, I think, about a month or so in AAA.
Yes.
He needs to face the
better
pitching and the
pitching.
caliber. But here's somebody else that is one of the top prospects for the Pirates, along with Tyler Glasnow, Jamison Tyon,
Yeah.
Alan Hansen. So there's a lot of positive things going on at Pirates camp. But when you got 65 guys in training camp, it's hard to to really get wrapped up in the games. I've been listening to games on the radio just because it's great to hear baseball, the sound of the ball hitting the bat and everything. But we'll see what happens when we get 3-4 weeks into this and we see what kind of a lineup they start putting in on a regular basis.
Well, once they get closer to what the lineup will be or could be,
because
it makes a difference.
What sunk the Pirates the last 2 years when it came to winning the division was their record in April. They need to come out strong this year. They need to have a winning April if they want to have a chance to win the division this year.
Well, I'll sound off on that a little. When you have McCutchen healthy to start a season and you don't have his knee issue or back, that makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does.
And even though he didn't let his hair go to the dreadlocks, I still think he'll have a great season because he's going to start out of the gates fast. All right? That's what I predict. We'll get a fast start. Oh, one thing. When I was going home last week, remember I talked about Malkin scoring the first goal?
I heard that. I heard it. I turned on the radio and I heard it. Yes, sir.
Usually I don't call him. I'm not quite like the prophet here. When he pulled those New York Giants out when Conklin was going to get fired and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. But that was why you're the prophet. But I said Malkin, I feel like he can get that first goal tonight.
And they beat the 18-0 New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they did that year. And that was when Tom Brady had his epiphany. 18-1 don't mean squat.
I got an update.
Whoa.
25-19 Newcastle over Beaver Falls in the first.
There you go.
Wow.
Newcastle's always strong.
Yeah, a lot of people waiting on that.
No doubt.
I thought a lot of people were waiting on Ramon Foster.
Well, Mario Tempest, that's his team, Newcastle.
I didn't know that.
Right? I thought he likes that team or from around that area.
Really? Because I know he's
I thought Mario was from up there in
Highlands
Newcastle.
Oh, maybe
Valley,
New Kent.
Yeah.
I get those two mixed up. I
But
don't
they're
travel
both
like
new.
smoking.
They're both new.
They're
so
both
yeah.
new.
Yeah, you're right.
They're both new teams there. So yeah, that's what rhymes.
Yeah, he likes New Hampshire, New York, too.
Yeah, they're similar. One's bigger than the other. No doubt. Well, that's about it. Smoking Jim, you want to give us a recap on a little bit of the boxing you saw?
Oh, man. I tell you what, it was often. Wolfpack Boxing.
Yes.
And
Golden Gloves.
Golden Gloves. Had a lot of cancellations, but had a few very, very good matches. And I tell you what, I like at the Wolfpack Boxing facilities for the Golden Glove boxing. But yeah.
No doubt. It's a nice place, nice venue, right in Carnegie there, right near Scott Township. So easy to find since we went there a couple times when you tricked me in that reality show. Wear a suit and 110 degrees. Glad I got 13 seconds of fame.
You did a great job.
Well,
the announcer
somehow
was
the clock went wild, so I don't know what time we have, but I think we're going to have to wrap it up.
right.
50 seconds.
No, is that what it is?
That's what I'm thinking.
I know.
I'm rolling
Thanks.
with it.
Thanks, buddy. Because I just looked at mine and I'm like, how did it go from I need one more minute? But we're out of time. Smoking Jim Frazier, thanks for all your insights, and especially that nugget on the NFL is the greatest with Hall of Famers. Chip, always thanks for your insights, your trivia, and more. We appreciate it, and can't wait for more of the Bucko Talk. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks to Ethan for being here. Devin Shea's holding down the control room. We appreciate it. He's even come in here to make adjustments. He's trying to make us look good. Thanks to Dave Cable for all the great lighting. Bethel Park for letting us do this stuff each week. We appreciate it. We thank you in the community for everybody watching us. And I want to tell you, stay Joey strong.